We have just finished up with the first step of looking at literature review, that is on searching the existing literature. We have also seen how to select a particular literature that is of interest to us. Now let us get back to the step 2, that's on reviewing the selected literature from the step 1. So we have now a few literature selected for our study to move forward. Now what we can do from those selected literature, let's say we have selected in total 10 articles, let's say, and from that 10 articles, let's choose one article. Though we have to read all the 10, let's choose one article, just one article, and let's see how we can review this selected one article. So this is how we review the selected article. So read all the things that is needed for you. Just read it very swiftly. Do not get stuck. Reading is a skill that you need to practice daily. You need to have a reading speed of like 40 words per like 10 seconds. You have to just first one line, second one line, third one line. You need to develop this kind of high speed of reading. So just give a high speed reading at first glance, and during the second one, if you have found somewhere that your interesting things are reflected there, then just slowly read those ones. So that's on reading. Now, after reading your articles very quickly and fastly, you must have got some themes in your mind, themes and issues in your mind. So list those themes and issues in your mind. And for example, if I'm doing, again, let's get back to lichens, diversity and distribution. I have found some themes on lichen distribution in the world. Okay, one is distribution in the world, lichen diversity in extreme places, second, lichen diversity in India, third, lichen diversity in Sahara Desert, fourth, sorry, not Sahara Desert, but lichen diversity in, let's say, agricultural areas, lichen diversity in agricultural fruit trees. So after reading that article, which is now basically on the lichen diversity in agriculture, I try to list down all the themes, and I try to arrange those themes in the framework, in a rough framework, according to the logical ways. For example, I start with the broad regional lichen diversity and distribution. Then I can add on to Indian continents lichens. Then I can add on to the lichens that's found in extreme places. Then I can add to the lichens that's being found in agricultural fruit trees. So I'll get some kind of themes which are now arranged in some kind of like framework. So basically these themes, how to arrange these themes. So I've given an example over here. So in Western Australia, they are basically trying to, research was basically trying to see the health service providers, and it was again relating to the community responsive on these health services. And after reading this article, this is a full-blown article, it was found that there are like 9 to 10 themes. So these themes are listed as community responsive. Yes, what does it mean? So just by reading that few paragraphs, you will know that it's on community responsive, then philosophy, then historical development, then attitude of the stakeholders and all. So these are the themes that were being reflected there as some sort of like topic, but even if the topic is not there, it's just being reflected as some sort of background theme. So I just list down all these themes. And third one is sort them out, sort the themes based on the logical framework that you can give. So based on some logic, let's say these themes can be arranged based on the chronological pattern. These themes can be arranged based on the geographical, larger to the smaller ones. So this is how we do this one. And if possible, if you really want to take notes, and if you really want to write something on the themes that you have found, if it is very important, you can write down these themes. And these themes can be put in separate sheets or separate blank spaces. So theme number 1 in one page, theme number 2 in another page, theme number 3 in another page. So under this each theme, you can write whatever relevant materials that you have found through this reading this article, and you can write it down. So basically, after this exercise, you should be getting themes or issues or some kind of topics that can be arranged in some kind of like logic. And please take care of certain things like take care whether the knowledge is relevant to your research problem. If it is relevant, then list down. If it is not relevant, then you should not be giving much attention there. Take care of theories that are put forward, the criticisms that are being made on their theories, on their methodology, on their study design, samples, characteristics, and all. Take care of the criticisms. Try to note all the criticisms that were being reflected in the article. So I'm telling especially if you're noting down, note this down. If you're not noting, but if you are just observing, observe this one or analyze these ones, and examine to what extent the findings can be generalized. So examine whether that the lichens distribution in that area can be used in your area or not, whether it can be generalized. Examine whether the articles, the authors that has reflected in the article, whether they are giving different kinds of opinions. What are the opinions from the literatures that's being reflected in that article? Try to note that down. You can try to note on little or nothing if it is not known anything on that topic, or if there are lots of gaps, try to note these gaps so that there are chances for you to study those gaps further. And the next one is, now you have developed some kind of themes, and these themes, if you can sort it out very perfectly. So theme number 1 is on regional lichen, theme number 2 is on that, theme number 3 is on India, theme number 4 is on forest, theme number 5 is on agriculture, theme number 6 is on Himalayan region, theme number 7 is on try to list down all the themes or all the topics or issues in a framework called as a theoretical framework. A theoretical framework is basically listing down of these themes and making these themes arranged in a logical framework, logical manner. So try to know that. And while reading the literature pertinent to your study may deal with 2 types of information. So you'll be getting two types of information in all the literatures. In any kind of literature, you should be able to spot these 2 things. One is the universal talks or universal theories or universal knowledge that is relevant to your study area, lichen distribution in the world, lichen distribution in a regional area. So try to note that down. Then more specific themes can be like lichen distribution in Indian forest, lichen distribution in Himalayan forest, lichen distribution in forest in Nepal. So these kind of things will be reflected. Try to again catch those things. But generally speaking, a logical framework is just listing down whatever themes and whatever issues are reflected in that study. So just list down. You do not have to take notes at this stage. Just list down the topics and themes. So that's what logical theoretical framework is all about, based on the logic. One of the examples can be this one. Research on fertility and mortality done in one of the countries shows that the theoretical framework can be listed by fertility trends, theories, then mortality factors, then it can be listed at last by relation between fertility and mortality. So these are the things that theoretical framework in this study can be listed. Or other study again looking at the same area of fertility and mortality. The theoretical framework can be just listing down some of the theories or some of the theme and some of the themes or theories or issues like fertility theories, theory of demographic transition, trends in fertility, method of contraceptions. So these kind of themes are being reflected. So see the themes, everything else that's been reflected in that article is being reflected in the form of themes, and these themes are arranged in the form of a framework that's known as a theoretical framework. So just listing down the themes at this stage. Now you have listed down at least around 10 to 11 themes, let's say, from this one. Like let's count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 themes from that study. And from that 9th theme, you do not want all the themes to be selected for your study. Let's say, again, let's get back to lichens because this is getting easier now to compare with lichens. You want to do lichens in a Himalayan country like Bhutan and specifically in Wangdi Photrong, and you want to see only that theme that's related to Himalayan region. For example, in the article where lichens of India was reflected, there should be some else in the article that has reflected the theme or issues which is particularly on the lichens in Himalayan region or lichens in forest or something that's related to your study. Pick that theme or pick that issue. Picking that issue is what conceptual framework is all about. 9 to 10 theoretical framework. Out of that, 1 to 2 important or most relevant to your study. That's known as conceptual framework. So it's kind of like summary that you really need from that area. So let's say, for example, relationship between fertility and mortality. There were lots of things, lots of framework over here. From this 9, I've chosen the last one. Relationship between fertility and mortality. This is the theoretical framework. Now, from this theoretical framework, I'm choosing relationship between fertility and mortality, fear of non-survival as my conceptual framework. So choosing just one from the 4, choosing just one from the 9 to 10, the framework that is in theoretical framework is what is called as conceptual framework. So conceptual framework is actual framework that, or actual theme or actual issue that is most relevant to your research problem or that's most relevant to the research topic.